The reality of things is that Tears of the Kingdom, they do have a lot of, mentions about...
There's going to be something. What's the next morsel? What's the next ingredient in the soup?
Just the rest of the podcast, and we go, la 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 la.
I dare you to spoil it.
But not like an Alien Isolation way. We like, the end, and it's not the end.
Epicosity, which is a word I think we've used before.
I'm sure we have.
Is it me being crazy? Should I get my foil hat?
You've got another 200 hours before you can finish this bad boy.
You need more time. And I was like...
We go back to what Nintendo has been trying to do for the longest.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Grief Burrito podcast. I'm Harrison.
And I'm Jordan.
Today we're joined by Lily Hyrule.
Hello.
We've been chatting the past few weeks, might be a month, because we wanted to discuss what's next for Zelda. We thought you might be the most perfect person to talk to, seeing as your official last name is Hyrule, as we can see on screen.
Oh yes, official.
Official. It was hard to change it to that. Shigsy was not happy. You've met Charles Martinet, first of all.
Yes.
You work with Zelda Universe TV. So I
Yes.
ask you, what is next for Zelda?
Kind of a sensitive topic because ever since Breath of the Wild, I think that we have been getting a lot more Zelda players, which is great. I mean, I'm a pro for that. I really encourage and I really like that Nintendo's kind of bringing everybody to kind of, get involved into the Legend of Zelda franchise, which is huge. So
Yes.
also there's, this kind of problem, we'll say, and more like discussion in terms like, is the old formula coming back? And the old formula for the 3D versions or 3D games, such as, the dungeons, and you're not able to advance or to progress into a certain dungeon if you don't have a certain item or a certain weapon, which it's not the case. Even with Tears of the Kingdom, which is the brand new release, it's not the classic formula. They kind of merged a little bit with Breath of the Wild. Ajiya Onuma has mentioned many, many times in terms of this is the new formula and this is what's going to be Zelda from now on. So there's... I don't really think we're going to have high hopes of getting back to the whole classic formula that we're kind of used to. Also, Shigeru Miyamoto, when he started with the whole Legend of Zelda, you can actually see it from the Legend of Zelda for the NES. That was an open world concept. That was originally the whole concept, but a lot of people kind of got used to the whole same formula all over and over again. So when they released Breath of the Wild, they pretty much went to the roots of everything. So there's not really like a guide or a certain route for you to follow or a path to follow. You can go whatever you like. And that's when it gets a bit more complex, because some of the players that really love that kind of formula, they're not very happy with this open world concept. But if we take it for ever since this started, that was the intent for a Legend of Zelda game in the first place.
Me and Jordan have come at the series from very different points, haven't we, Jordan? So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've played every game since the second game came out on the NES. Like, that was my first ever Zelda game.
2.
Adventures of Link. Oh, yes.
Oh, my.
That was my trial by fire into the Zelda games. And I even kind of like that. It might have been the music that got me.
I have to say it's a really good game. A lot of people
It's a
don't
challenge.
It's
Yeah,
a challenge,
it's a
and
challenging
you
game.
don't really see any other Zelda game like that.
No.
The Dark Souls of Zeldas.
It is
Yeah.
the Dark Souls of Zelda. I was literally just about to say that, Jordan. Yeah. And then, Jordan, the way you've come at the Zelda series is...
It was Ocarina first, and then skip a load of stuff. I never finished Ocarina when I was younger because I was an idiot. And then I think I want to say it was Twilight Princess, and then Breath of the Wild.
I mean, that's three very strong ones. Like,
Yes,
I
they
know me and Jordan went back on YouTube and did play a bit of Majora's
Minish Cap.
Mask as well.
Sorry,
did you
Minish
do
Cap. That was
another great one.
Minish Cap was the best out of up until Breath of the Wild for me.
From that, like, I can see, even I was feeling unusual towards the way Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom went. Like, I did kind of miss a little bit of the linearity.
Yes.
More so with Breath of the Wild, I think. That was very much just like, it put you in a world and was like, yeah, go. Whereas Tears of the Kingdom
Go crazy.
Yeah, literally. You could do whatever you want. Whereas Tears of the Kingdom felt a little bit more guided, and I think it was because there was a little bit more story to follow.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm kind of glad. But Tears of the Kingdom has made Breath of the Wild feel like a demo that took 7 years to make.
Absolutely.
My brother made a point the other day, and I'm interested on both of your standpoints from this. Lily, we'll go with yours first as you're the guest. My brother said Tears of the Kingdom makes it feel like you don't really need to play Breath of the Wild.
Yes. Well, Nintendo has been trying very hard, especially with the biggest IPs, in this case, Legend of Zelda, Mario, and stuff like that, for everybody to be able to play the game without having to go back to its predecessor or whatever, whichever other game is available there. You do get a little bit more about the tutorials, getting, used to the whole gameplay and mechanics and stuff. And they really are focusing on doing that. So when I usually get this question quite often, actually, they do ask me, like, do I need to play Breath of the Wild in order for me to understand and to play Tears of the Kingdom? The answer is no, especially because of the story. I mean, it does mention a bit more about Sheikah technology and stuff like that, but that doesn't even exist anymore here, so you don't really have to worry about it. And in terms of, like, you can really play the game without having to know anything about Breath of the Wild. But also Nintendo kind of uploaded a few videos on their Nintendo of America YouTube channel or Nintendo UK YouTube channel about Tears of the Kingdom. So if you want to know more about, like, the story, you can always research it and try to get a little bit more information. But yeah, I do agree that that's not the case.
It definitely makes Breath of the Wild redundant in the way that if I was going to try and play a Zelda game now at any point just to hop into it for a few hours, I wouldn't have any reason to go back to Breath of the Wild.
No, I think it feels a little more empty.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that we were spoiled with Breath of the Wild, really. And then when you think there's not more that you can do, going back to your question of what next for Zelda, I couldn't tell you when Breath of the Wild came out what Tears of the Kingdom would do, because it just seemed unfathomable to me that there could be something better than
what
this.
else could you do more?
And now, I'm going to sound like an idiot in 7 years' time, because, I don't know, Tears of the Kingdom, I don't know, same spelling, is going to be so much better, and there's going to be so much more. I'm like a fool for not seeing these really obvious building blocks that they put into place. But coming off the back of, like, I'm a big Dark Souls fan with the open world. I'm a big fan of Far Cry 3, that kind of thing. As soon as you move into Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild from the other Zelda games, despite them being somewhat open world, they're a hub more than anything, with linear levels which lead you to later parts. I really liked Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom for breaking away from that, because I like that freedom. An open world game that doesn't bore me is incredibly difficult to come by, because it's usually just, Ubisoft fatigue, or Assassin's Creed being a really key one for that. They just completely knock it out of the park. I could just run around in Zelda for hours and love life. But any other game, I don't think I could get away with that.
No. And, like, thinking, trying to think ahead like that, like, not even realizing what this game would be going off the back of Breath of the Wild. Like, I feel like Tears of the Kingdom came out, Shigeru Miyamoto walked into his office and shut the door and was like, shit, what next? Because we need to find something big and amazing to go on to.
He goes out smiling. He's like, thank you, goodbye, goodbye.
You just hear the scream as the door closes, No, I mean, each game does build on something. It builds on something new. It builds on a new mechanic. I really didn't see the whole vehicle thing being in this game. And when I first heard about it and first saw any kind of image of it, I was skeptical. There was that whole comparison to Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, which I can completely see. And I loved the Banjo-Kazooie series, and when that one came out, I was really not a fan of what happened, so I was scared that it was going to be the same kind of thing. But yeah, there's going to be something. What's the next morsel? What's the next ingredient in the soup, as it were? I think because we're not getting any kind of DLC for this game, which Ajiya Onuma obviously said recently, he would be open to revisiting this world if something came up later on. I think they're just going to wipe the plate. I think there's going to be a brand new Link. I think it's going to be a brand new Zelda. I think it's going to be a whole new story.
Yeah, me too. Go the way of Wind Waker and change it up.
Exactly, and I'm glad you brought up Wind Waker, Jordan, you wonderful little chap. Because
thank you.
What was the one thing that was missing from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom?
The one thing? It could be many things.
Oh no, there's one specific thing for my argument, Lily. There's one specific thing you have to say.
Music.
Music is what
got improved.
It definitely got improved.
Oh, I meant like instruments.
Yeah, there is. I do want to see instruments come back. I do want to see instruments come back. I will definitely agree with that. But the one thing is diving and swimming. There is nothing about any underwater world at all.
Right.
And I really thought, because that was mentioned with Breath of the Wild, that at least in Tears of the Kingdom, they would have added something. I thought they would have added even just the slightest little mission in a shrine where you go underwater, because it's not that difficult of a mechanic to introduce. But why would you
concrete
omit that?
boots?
Yeah,
Like
make
you
some
being attacked by the mafia.
I mean, you could do that. Walk along the bottom, fuse things to your boots.
You'd be sleeping with the fishes, and
Exactly.
then Mifa appears, and he's like,
sleeping with these fishes. Yeah, I mean, everyone does love that big Zora boy too, Sidon. So
Prince Sidon.
you know, they're gonna bring it about. It's gonna happen. That's one thing I think. Maybe we're gonna get submarines.
That's the
build
new game.
submarines.
Literally all underwater.
Submarine
Hyrule's flooded.
mechanic.
You happy now?
You happy
Yeah.
now? Yeah,
There you
we did
go.
Wind Waker above. Now we're going below. What do you think, Lily?
Right.
Do you think we're gonna be getting some underwater mechanics?
I think that it's important for them to look into it, because there's a lot of people that really miss that. But also there's the other point of, a lot of people hated the water temples, right? So
Yeah.
I don't really think they're going to be fun about, swimming around, but they really need to look into that concept. I feel like I do agree with Jordan in terms of, I do feel that they will have to start a whole new Link, a whole new probably timeline or whatever's the case for the upcoming games, if of course we're expecting upcoming games. But I don't really think that they're gonna go and revisit to the formula that they had for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. In terms of the game mechanics and all of that, I feel that they're gonna stick with that, because that's the formula that has been working for them. But I don't know. It's just, I am always curious to dive in, of course, if I'm on a lake or
same.
I don't know. I just want to go and try to do that because of the previous games. But if they didn't do it on Tears of the Kingdom, I don't really think, or I don't find a reason why they would do it again. I feel like they will have to do it because people are requesting that, or a lot of people are kind of begging to have that kind of option again. But
I feel like it was omitted on purpose. I feel like it was, and maybe that's just me. Maybe that's a me problem, that if someone doesn't do something, I'm like, you're keeping that on purpose. I can feel you hiding it from me. Like that. Like,
yeah.
Maybe I'm being skeptical.
I would have expected for that to happen on Tears of the Kingdom. It didn't. So yeah, I do agree with you that they're kind of stepping away from it on purpose.
Do you think there'll be any point where, like, when playing this game, I noticed a lot myself, and I presume a lot of other players had the same. Jordan, you probably did too, although I know you haven't completed it yet, so we're going to try and
How far
avoid...
are you in the game?
Yeah,
I'm
where are you?
curious.
The shadowy man. I don't want to spoil it for people listening.
The shadowy man, yes.
And then you do that, and then it's like, oh, there's more, and then you got to do more things. And then I've learned
Jordan, I could edit it out if you say it.
Right, okay. So you fight Shadow Ganon.
Yep.
After you've got the 4 sages.
After the hands come out.
Yeah, so you fight him, and then you win, and then he's like, and then I skip the cutscene because I don't really care. And then now I need to do more things, and I was like, this is great. I'm going to lend my Switch out because I've got other games to play.
So you're pretty far, though. You're pretty far.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got that issue of, like, I want to do a lot of things in the first playthrough because realistically, I'm not going to play that game twice. I just want to get everything and then I'm done. Hurrah, and then move on. I don't even have Tears of the Kingdom in my house anymore. I don't have my Switch in my house anymore.
That means we can spoil it. Lily.
Yeah, do it. I dare you. I dare you.
I dare you to spoil it.
Just the rest of the podcast, and we go, la, 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 as loud as I can.
Also, based on my own community, I have seen this with a lot of the completionists, for example, that they kind of got this bad habit because of Breath of the Wild, that they want to complete everything 100% before actually advancing on the story. And one of the feedback that I got from someone, another of our part of our community, said, well, yeah, it's just that when Breath of the Wild got released, I was super excited and I started to go through the entire story, but it was kind of a disappointment for me. So I kind of step away from, because there were there were high hopes for Breath of the Wild, and then now that they're playing Tears of the Kingdom, they're like, oh no, I want to get everything first. So they have spent over 300 hours trying to collect everything to get 100% before they can actually beat the game. I've seen that happen. And I feel like they really don't have to do that. I keep telling them, go and play the story. Go along the story. Beat the game. It's nothing that's going to happen. I even got one person he mentioned, I don't want to beat the game because I feel like if I beat the game, I'm not going to be able to go back to it. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that doesn't happen. That's not the case. You can always go back. Like,
Does he mean mentally? Like when he's
I
beating
just
it?
can't take it.
no,
Yeah, he's just like, oh, I'm done with this. Yeah.
no, not mentally.
Yeah?
Like
Oh,
the
okay.
system not allowing you to go back to the game once you beat
Right.
the game.
Okay. Right.
Yeah,
I see.
yeah. No, I mean, I agree, and like I felt that, like when we started talking, I obviously said I wanted to complete the game before we did this episode, so we
Yep.
could talk freely about everything. And in my haste, I suppose, I expected the game to be a lot shorter than it was. That's one other reason our
Yeah.
episode got pushed back, because I was like, oh, I've got a bit more to do. And I was surprised at how much more content was in the story than the last one, and I was very, very pleased with that. It just kept expanding. This was a game that every time I thought I'd found everything, it was like, oh no, there's another mechanic here. There's the auto build feature. There's this to do, or I just kept finding extra stuff, and I was so glad to experience it that way, if I'm honest.
But not like an Alien Isolation way where you're like, oh, the end, and it's not the end.
No,
And then you're like, oh, the end, it's not the end.
I mean that's a game that just like, makes you cry all the way through it anyway. I don't think I can emotionally take that game.
When I was about, on that particular part of the game, I always knew that I needed to do more because of Ocarina of Time, especially because of Ocarina of Time. And without giving, a lot of information, you know that there are 6 stages, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of know that already, or it was already programmed in my mind, at least for me. So I knew I needed to go and find that other stage. So it was part of the whole, because the way that I played and because of all the other games, I thought like, yeah, we're missing something.
You can spoil it. I don't mind. I think I know what you're talking about anyway.
I think that's more than enough for me to say, because this is not even really a spoiler, because even the character has been released officially by Nintendo. So a lot of people know about this other stage. So that's all I'm going to say. But what I'm trying to say is I do agree with you that it gets to a point, Jordan, where you feel like you're really going to go to the end of the game. And then all of a sudden, that's not the case. You still need to do other stuff. And it's going to happen also because Harrison, you can also add to that, because I remember you told me I'm about to beat the game. And then you came back and said, oh no, there's something else I have to do. Like I told you there was still something else you needed to do. Right.
You've got another 200 hours before you can finish this bad boy.
I think he DM'd me and was just like, you need more time. And I was like, what are you on about? How do you know? Well, like I said, it wasn't a bad surprise. It never felt like a slog playing through it. It always felt really interesting. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to explore the rest of the depths. I'm going to do all of that.
A lot of goodies in the depths.
There's a lot. I know. I need to find a lot of the armor and stuff. I do have a lot of the amiibo cards, so we've been getting all the different armor sets on there, but there's loads I haven't got yet, so I need to upgrade stuff.
It's a lot easier with the amiibos, 100%. So.
Yeah, it definitely is. Jordan, do you know about Zelda? Did you do the memories?
She's like a dragon, right?
Cool. Right. So I was really surprised that Zelda turned into a dragon, because it felt, I don't know, it gave it this really like melancholic tone over the whole game when you realize that the tears that you're finding are Zelda's about the kingdom. My mind, I was getting like, when you're going to cry, you get all like that tightness there. God, this is so sad. Yeah, I absolutely loved that. And one of my predictions was that Zelda was going to either die or get lost.
I thought about that
and
as
I thought that I thought that was going to be it. And Minoru even says that, you're going to lose yourself. I was like, oh, cool. This is actually... It felt like there was weight in the story, weight in the decisions of what was going to happen.
Yep.
So when you come up to the final chapter, the level of epicosity, which is a word I think we've used before, Jordan. So
I'm sure we have. It's in our dictionary. I'll go get it now.
On the screen now. Epicosity. Feel free to use it, everyone. I thought it hit the mark. I really did. And I love what they did with Ganondorf. I know that a lot of people have said that they felt this was a weaker iteration of Ganondorf, but I don't know if I agree. Do you, Lily?
No.
Exactly.
No. I mean, I have to agree with Ganon. I have to agree with Breath of the Wild's Calamity Ganon. That was a whole disappointment for sure. But no. I definitely feel that there's also a lot of rumors that if they were to release a DLC, they will be, diving a little bit more into details about the Demon King and stuff like that. But
yes,
but no.
I'm glad you brought that up, you wonderful sausage, because I've actually got that in my notes as something I wanted to bring up.
Good.
I was thinking that if they were going to do anything else, whether it's the next game or anything else released onto this, it would be about the Gerudo and finding out where Ganondorf came from, because we see him with that, like, his tribe at the start, in one of the memories, but we never really find out, are they segregated from the Gerudo? Like, why are they different in
Oh,
the
is that where they've got the two witches from what's it called? Majora's Mask, and they're the
Kuma and
Gerudo
Kotick
things.
Yeah.
And
I think he summons all of the Moldugas, doesn't he? And they come down through the canyon. It was something that Onuma said that made me think about this. The specific quote was, "If such a reason is newly born, it may be a reason to return to the same world again. Whether it's a sequel or new work, it will be a completely new way to play, so I'd happy if you'd look forward to it." A reason is newly born. It's a very specific thing, and like Gerudo's
if
men,
people care
one
enough.
male is born. Yeah, basically. But it just seemed like a bit of a puzzle statement. Saying, why would you say it was born? So I'd love to maybe is the Demon King reborn? Is there a new Gerudo male born? Because there's only one born every 100 years. It just... Do you know what I'm saying? Is it me being crazy? Should I get my foil hat?
It is cryptic, and I think you're doing a good job in digging into it, to be fair.
Right.
I would have just read that as just maybe. If market share's there.
Yeah, and also the Sonai, I feel like the tribe and all that kind of stuff, they need to be a little bit more explored as well. But the reality of things is that Tears of the Kingdom, they do have a lot of, mentions about other games. But in terms of the timeline, it doesn't really belong on a timeline. Heck, it doesn't even belong to Breath of the Wild anymore, apparently. So they kind of restarted the whole thing. So I don't know if, whatever Ajiya Onuma actually quoted on that, meaning that he might look into the option eventually. But I feel like this is all for, I'll say more like the Zelda fans that have been there for the longest. And they just want to throw things there. Because it doesn't really confirm anything. Like even with Fi, right, with the actual Source Spirit and stuff, you can hear her throughout the entire every time that you mention something about that. Also the Demon King and stuff, but it doesn't really connect with Skyward Sword at all. Like they only mention, but you never see anything like that.
No.
It's
and
more like
time...
they just put things there for us. But I don't feel like they're gonna officially put it into an actual timeline or stuff like that. We don't have information on that either.
I feel like their timeline got complex enough when it branched into three things. For any viewers or listeners,
Twilight Princess ruined everything.
Yeah, well, it went to Ocarina of Time, and then it split after that, and then it's all these different ones. And I'll put it on screen for people watching if you don't know what we're talking about. You probably know what we're talking about if you listen to a Zelda episode, but just in case.
Yes.
I just think...
get the Metal Gear Solid episode. That's going to be fun.
I've still never played.
But if you think about it, it doesn't really if you play any of the other games, it doesn't really mention anything. They do mention this happened 100 years ago or this happened a long time ago, but it doesn't really have a connection. They kind of put together a timeline for the sake of understanding the whole story. We go back to what Nintendo has been trying to do for the longest. They want new players to join. They want other players to actually get to experience the Legend of Zelda, regardless of if you have ever played any Legend of Zelda game at all, right? So I feel like they really want to focus on that. And if they by a certain point ever decide to add Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom within the timeline, they will pretty much branch it out and just lay it out for us because we're begging to know, right? But it's not like I feel it's really a thing anymore. Like
no, it feels like anything that came before is a legend. It's what it is. It's a story that's told in the world, like very Inception, having layers like that. But I do it's a good way to do it because then it gives you more freedom to do more things in the future, basically.
Right.
When you mentioned about Fi, then that was one of the things that I really, really loved, all the references that they had to previous games. Two come to mind specifically. One about Fi. Every time the Master Sword is mentioned, it plays her motif, like the melody from the music from Skyward Sword.
And that's her. We know that's her, but it's never really, confirmed.
Really nice. No. And the other thing was when Rauru bound Ganondorf in one of the memories, the other sound that played when Rauru bound Ganondorf in place was the Majora's Mask clock tower bong. Which Jordan knows I'm a massive fan of Majora's Mask, so I absolutely lost my shit when I heard that. I stood up, I was oh! So I just love that. It made me wish more people had played the past games for this one to really appreciate how much was in this in references to the other titles.
It's even cool seeing bits on the map being like Minish Cap related. And it's
Yes.
like, oh, that's really neat. And then hoping that it'd be an Eslo Cap and there isn't, and being very upset.
I would have loved to have seen you be able to be Minish in this one. Like, shrink down and wander through the grass, and then suddenly the world is twice as big as you initially thought.
I just want a feisty little Cap to give me shit. You're awful.
Hey!
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Eslo, please.
Yeah, all those references are kind of, something very special for a lot of Zelda fans. They have been there for the longest. And I feel like they put these references because they know we appreciate them.
Yeah, totally.
100%.
I mean, there's some references that surprise me, like being able to get rubber tights in Breath of the Wild in Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, appealing to the rubber daddies. Nice. You know?
It's like even being able to get like the dark tunic and stuff. Like, it gives like the edgelord versions of ourselves back in the day.
It does,
Like,
Yeah.
I want to be emo Link again, and you can. And it's great.
I wish you could dance like Tobey Maguire when he gets a bit edgelordy in Spider-Man 3.
That'd be so good. Someone's got to have made that. I'm going to check.
So it's got to be on there. There's got to be a mod for it somewhere. So I know we've got so much that we can even like have a think about going forward, and they've obviously got 7 years to produce this. I presume it's going to be on the next console, whether it's going to be the Switch 2 or something else. Who knows?
We're still waiting on that Pro.
The Switch U.
Yeah.
The Switch
Like
U.
the Wii U,
The
but
Wii U,
not.
Switch U, switch it up. Maybe that's what it's going to be.
Yeah. Yes.
Do we know anything? Has anything been said yet? Do we know anything?
No.
Your
Nothing
inside
else.
scoop, please.
I don't have an insight on that, unfortunately. So
No
we
way.
don't know. They're basically rumors at this point. But if they were to, show that kind of prototype, it's something that's we might see something in the near future. But no, nothing really confirmed so far.
It's going to be interesting to see them fight against the Steam Deck now, and what
Right.
that can do for the form factor.
Very, very interesting.
I think they're going to have a bit of a firefight trying to figure out what they can do to make the Switch 2 or whatever the versions are going to be called live up to the Steam Deck and whatever its superior will be in the near future.
I mean, I presume they've got to get something more powerful, or at least try to be, more powerful than the Switch and the Switch OLED has been.
The art directions carried Nintendo for a very long time. And don't get me wrong, the art direction for Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Super Mario, I don't know.
Sunshine?
I forgot the name. The new one,
The new
Odyssey.
Odyssey, not Galaxy. Yeah, Odyssey.
There we go. All these kind of games, Metroid Dread,
Outstanding.
despite being these games
thing.
that, they're not like technically, well, Tears of the Kingdom's technically impressive. They're not big games.
No.
But the fact that they can make them look that good on this kind of, in the nicest possible way, such shitty hardware.
Yeah, it's basically. I
It
think
is
my new phone's more
incredible.
powerful than the Switch, which is
Yeah, 100%.
It is so impressive, but they're going to have to do something to kind of up that game to give them the edge again, because you can only go so far on that.
I think
this is the limit with Tears now.
Yeah, it's really pushing the upper limit of what the Switch can do. I think, as a little prediction, if there was going to be something that I would do the next console, I would presume that if they're going to keep the hybrid model where the console can come out of a dock, which, I presume they will, I would think that the dock itself would have something that could increase the power, whether it's an internal graphics card built into the dock, so when it's docked it could do 4K gaming at whatever hertz,
I think that's what Alienware did at one point, isn't it, with their laptops?
Yeah,
where you can have the
dock,
And if you think about it, like the dock is basically just plastic
Power.
frame.
Yeah.
Where you connect the power supply and the HDMI port, and that's it. There's nothing to it. Like even for the OLED version, you kind of have the port for the LAN and stuff like that, but the dock is just a dock for you to put the console there and to be able to watch or play on a television or whatever is the case. But there's nothing else on the dock. So everything is being done by the console. And I do agree that they have to put something there so at least you can go one, you can feel the difference, right, in terms of the graphics if you dock it versus playing it handheld. But
personally, I don't play mine handheld. If I want to play a game,
I don't either.
I could appreciate it maybe with Metroid
Sofa
Dread.
stands over here.
Sofa stands. But if I'm playing something like Metroid Prime, the remaster, which looks great, or Tears of the Kingdom, or Mario Odyssey, for example, all these games look great on a big screen, so I want to play it on a big screen.
Right.
Are you okay, Jordan? Are we waving?
Yeah, sorry, caught fire there. I saw smoke. Oh no. Sorry, carry on.
It's all right. No, that's pretty much all I was getting at. I just like to play on a big screen. I appreciate playing the handheld, like I said, if it's for Metroid Dread or something like that. But then again, even with Metroid Dread, I want to play it on a big screen because I like the atmosphere of it. You know,
It's so rare if I sofa game now. Like I've got a PS5 and a Switch, so if I'm going to sofa game, I'm going to sofa game. I'm getting to the age where if I lie at a weird angle playing a Switch, it's going to hurt the next day. I am not a young man anymore. As Soldier 76, yeah, damn, 76. I've not said Soldiers. I've not thought about Overwatch in a long time.
Yeah, I've never played it.
I'm not a young man anymore.
Still to this day, never played it.
I've got no interest in it anymore, to be honest.
Yeah. Yes.
But if we talk about the being able, like the hybrid mode, a lot of, competitors out there have always tried to make a portable console. And Nintendo has been, revolutionary in terms of making that happen ever since the Game Boy, right? So I don't feel like any other companies they have been able to do it, because I do agree that the Steam Deck, it's a wonderful handheld device, and it's like in terms of like the quality, in terms of the graphics and everything, it's simply not Nintendo. It's not really at that level at the moment.
Yeah,
but it could be that because I've grown with Nintendo games, I would much rather buy a Nintendo Switch versus a Steam Deck, but that's a personal opinion.
They're two very different consoles in what they offer, in my opinion.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, one offers Nintendo products, which are their entire own thing, and then the Steam Deck offers everything else. I think, anything you're going to do with Nintendo, you're always going to... They've got that very kind of niche ecosystem, which you buy into it, and you're going to have a great time with all these things you can't get anywhere else.
Exactly.
It's like having an iPhone almost, like... You know what you're getting, and if you like it, you like it. That's why I can completely understand. Like, I don't really like iPhones. Fair play. I'm not a huge Nintendo fan, but I can appreciate it for what it is and enjoy the odd thing here or there. But for that reason, I completely get why certain people don't like Nintendo, because it's a very niche area.
Right.
It is, yeah, and I'd say it's a more segregated way to game, it feels sometimes, because you want to experience it with more
those
people.
lines are blurring with things like Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey. It is becoming where more and more people are coming over to Nintendo because the games can just stand. That Breath of the Wild made me buy a Switch, which is like, I can't think of anything else that's one thing that's made me buy a console before.
No.
But it's very strange if you put it like, if now that you mention that, because originally Breath of the Wild was developed exclusively for the Wii U, not for the Nintendo Switch. So that's kind of the things that I don't like about Tears of the Kingdom 100%, because I kind of had like high hopes for Tears of the Kingdom because it was going to be developed exclusively for the Nintendo Switch. So it was going to be like the whole hardware situation, because I got the opportunity to play the demo at one of the E3s, and I played it on the Wii U. So when they announced the Nintendo Switch, and I thought like, I'm not going to get it for the Wii U, I'm going to get it for the Switch. Like I saved myself to buy an actual Switch to be able to play it. But in terms of like the performance, it was never built for the Switch. So
it's insane that
it was mirrored as well, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Just like they did with your Twilight Princess, GameCube and Wii.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I might be thinking of that. Never mind. I might be wrong in the mirroring there. But I did have a Wii U as well, and that I don't think it was very quickly after getting the Wii U that I got rid of the Wii U, because there was just nothing for it. So I think it was kind of right for them to put that focus more on the Switch, because they knew what they'd done with the Wii U. I think they kind of realized quickly. They were like, well, shit. Push it to the Switch. Push it to the Switch.
Yeah. Yep.
So, Lily, what are you doing next with the Zelda Universe TV? What's coming up next for you? Anything exciting that you're working on going forward with the Tears of the Kingdom content?
The problem that we have with Zelda Universe is spoilers. We do have a very strict spoiler policy that we want to keep. So I joined Zelda Universe as a short form video content creator. So you will see, like, either you will hear my voice on one of the reels and TikToks, or you will see me depending on the type of content that I'm creating. But there was this project that we wanted to start to create tutorials for the Zelda Universe YouTube channel. But that kind of put aside a little bit because Zelda Universe has been a bit busy with a lot of projects and events such as PAX and all the other ones. They kind of reached out to me because they knew that I was making tutorials and tips and stuff like that. And that's why they wanted to focus a little bit more on the tutorial side of things. Because if you look at their channel right now, they have other things going on, but not really specifically for Tears of the Kingdom. It has been a challenge for me to come up with ideas because a lot of the things that I will share, it will have spoilers, right? So we had a 6-month policy, so we're almost hitting that mark. So I guess until we get to that particular part, then we might discuss further things that it's really going to happen with the Zelda Universe content. Also, I mean, when I first started uploading tips and tricks for Tears of the Kingdom, I started, getting a lot more reach. Not even with Zelda Universe that I was getting at all. One of my reels was the one that kind of exploded and it got 2 million views. It was about the repair system for Tears of the Kingdom that wasn't really active in Tears of the and Breath of the Wild. And the whole reason why it kind of blew up is because there were a lot of people very angry with the fact that there isn't really a repair system per se. And they added this kind of way of repairing weapons with Octoroks. So yeah, that's the reason why I got a lot of attention. But I've been doing that on my YouTube channel as well. So even though I'm not creating content with Zelda Universe at the moment, I kind of started, branching out and focusing a little bit more on what to do. There's also another thing that I will like to bring out because I've been getting, in social media, you get a lot of hate most of the times. And one of the things that a lot of people mention is that I'm teaching stuff that is already there, that it's not really new. And of course, there are a lot of Zelda players that are absolutely amazing. They have this amazing skills, and I'm never going to be at their level because I don't consider myself like a pro player. I just like to play Zelda, right? But when it gets to a point where I get DMs from people thanking me for creating a video that explained that, something very simple, and they tell me like, oh, I'm sorry, it's just that I have this disability or I have this problem or I struggle a bit more, and your video actually helped me to do this. And that fills my heart every time that I get those kind of DMs because I feel like I'm achieving my main goal, right? And I still feel like people are just gonna be complaining about stuff, and I keep doing what I do. And I know that there are a lot of videos out there already about those kind of things, but I'm just doing it for the community. That's really what I'm aiming for. And Zelda Universe also strives because of that. Like their main goal is to do that, right? To share that with the community.
Yeah, I mean that's great.
That's great.
It's hard sometimes saying that there's you can't say there's loads of information out there because a lot of times the information's hard to find. To find a specific thing that you want to know is hard when you're looking through this giant video of whatever this piece of content is, whether it's a tutorial
knowing
or
how to Google the thing. It might be that you explain something a different way to someone else.
Exactly.
Yours shows up first.
Yeah. Because yours is a specific thing. Also, weird, my alarm just went off saying we're recording a podcast right now. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we
How
are.
could you be late for this other podcast?
Is that what I'm doing? So I've got one final Zelda question for you, Lily.
Yes.
Do you want the hat to come back, or do you want the hat to stay buried?
I want it to come back.
Oh my god. No, I think I agree. There's something I miss about the hat. What about you, Jordan, as a new Zelda boy?
Is it going to come back as a fedora? No, I want
green fedora.
That's a very specific question. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
No, I want Ezlo to come back. That's all I want.
That would be cool. Yeah, more
That is
talking hats.
Just as anything, even if it's a different hat and he's like, oh, I'm Zeslo. Yeah, I have a cousin who knows a guy who looks like you. Or something stupid.
That would be cool. Just a slightly different beak, like it's a toucan beak instead of like a thing.
He's a blue hat opposed to a green hat. Something like that.
Yeah. And then when you dive underwater, he holds his breath.
Yeah.
Little bubbles come out. I'd be all about that.
I mean, there are two very important things that I personally miss from the newer games. One would be a companion. I know they're kind of annoying sometimes, but they grow on you. There's a very special character development there for some of the companions, not all of them. especially
Yeah.
Midna. She's my favorite. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Midna's
incredible.
great.
it's great. Like, she really, that last part when you're about to say goodbye to her, I always burst into tears. Like, every
Devastating.
time I see that part, I'm like, oh my God, that is the most important thing about, like, you see that growth, like that kind of development with Midna. So I kind of miss having a companion a lot. And the second thing would be an instrument. Yeah, because
Same. Yeah.
there've always been an instrument for anything, but we don't have that anymore. So I kind of miss those things.
Yeah, music is something that I've missed since even like Skyward Sword, when they brought that one out, and it was like you just had to like wave to do the harp thing. It just didn't give the same vibes as Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask did. And I know they did
Right.
somewhat music in Twilight Princess, with the wolf howling, and I like that, but I just want more of it. As a musician,
What do you
I just
think
want
the
to do more.
next instrument's going to be? Put your bets on now. They're going to have to add an instrument at some point in the next 30 years.
You're gonna have
or
to.
something. They're going to
I mean,
have to. What's it going to be?
I mean, I could go crazy and say a guitar because we have seen that in Majora's Mask, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, with Zora Link. Yeah.
I don't know. It could be. I'm pretty sure they're gonna go with something like a flute or something like that. Like,
It's
I don't
probably
really
gonna be a
think
wind
that they're
instrument.
Like
gonna
Skull
be doing-
Kid.
I would like
Yeah.
to see them bring in like Makar's viola from Wind
Oh
Waker.
yeah,
Nice little viola.
I do have one here.
Have you
Good.
got one? Oh my God.
I'm going to say trombone.
jam.
He's going to bring out a trombone.
Hey, nice.
Hey.
It's so good.
This is my car, actually.
I've got
Because a lot of people would say
Metroid.
like it's a Korok. Well, yeah, technically it's a Korok, but it's actually from the Wind Waker. So
That's like having a dog and them saying that's a dog, and it's like, yeah, but it's my dog.
It's my dog. It's different. Mine's better
my
than
dog,
the rest.
Ben. Yeah.
right. Yeah, I really miss my car.
Yeah,
as
same.
well,
I liked him. I was kind of hoping he would pop up in Breath of the Wild, to be honest, when you were in the Deku Woods. But
Why didn't they do anything with
Lost Woods,
Hestu's maracas?
what? Oh, what, like music, as in like playing with the maracas?
I suppose, like, yeah. Well, I suppose it does have an instrument because it has Hestu's maracas and it has the accordion and it has the band. Not
Also,
band,
also,
the
where was Cass?
Quintet.
Where
I
was
don't know,
Cass in
where's
Tears of the
Cass?
Kingdom? Where's Cass at? Bring back Cass.
Everybody is still looking for him, but no, there's
Because
no.
at the end of Tears of the Kingdom, in the credits, it plays the Squeezebox accordion. And I was like, he
Yeah.
wasn't even in this game when you're playing his music.
You're lying to me.
You're lying to me,
Yeah.
Shigeru.
They're playing
Yeah.
with our game, with our feelings, 100%.
And our hearts. I am
Yeah,
down to
yeah.
3. Yes. I think they should bring back Cass personally in the next one. I don't know
Yeah,
what
I
it will be,
really-
where it will be.
I
really
reckon they're
miss
going to
him.
go 2D Zelda again or
Yeah.
2.5 or whatever.
That'll be
Zelda again.
amazing because
That'll be the next one.
I
Yeah,
think
that'll
they're
be
gonna
amazing
bring
because the last
a
one
remake.
was Link's Awakening and it was a remake. It was a really good
Yeah.
remake, by the way. But
It was a good remake.
yeah, not a lot
I
of
get-
people.
I
know.
guess Thingy doesn't count, does it? The Cadence for Hyrule doesn't count because it's a spin-off of
It is a
Necrodancer.
spin-off. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think we're going to get a
Very cool.
remake of The Adventures of Link. They're going to redo it from the ground up, like full
Well,
on.
there was a rumor about a sequel when
Hmm.
they first. I think it was going to be for the Game Boy or something, but they never actually got back to it. So
No way. That's such a shame. I would like to see, maybe not a remaster, but like a reimagining, like something new with that.
I don't know. Everybody's just hoping to get a port for Twilight Princess and the Wind Waker. I'm
Oh, I
down
know,
for
that's
that.
all everyone talks about. I
Everybody
see that
has been
every single
waiting
day.
for that for the longest.
Yeah, no,
But
I
I
do
don't
agree
know.
with that. I do agree with that completely.
What we'll do is 7 years from now, we'll have you back on the show.
Yeah.
And we'll go over everything. We'll play this back and talk over it and commentate and be like, we were right. We were so wrong over and over again.
Yep.
Could review our own episode. Cool. One last question from me. What was Charles Martinet like?
Oh, he's such a wonderful. He speaks Spanish, by the way. So
does he?
it's very very unique that I can get to speak Spanish with someone as big and as Charles Martinet. So I met him 3 times already, 2 at E3s, and he's always like, when he takes a picture with you, he will always make a Mario sound, like anything. So he always gets you to smile. He's is super kind, and he always loves to get around with all the Mario fans around the world. So it's always so wonderful to meet him and to
He
get
seems
to
like
talk to
such a
him.
nice guy. He really does.
Yeah, he is. He totally is. Yeah. When they announced that he was going to visit my town, I thought like I really need to take, to get a picture. And he signed my Mario Odyssey game. He also signed the Mario DVD. I know that he's not of course he's not the voice, but he is in the movie, right? As
he is,
Mario and Luigi's
he
dad and everything.
I thought that made it even better though. Like to have him as the dad, and he's like, "They're my boys." Like,
yeah, that actually,
so nice,
I started crying when I saw that.
Same,
so.
it got me. It got me as well. I was like, "Oh, I'm feeling emotions."
So yeah, he actually added a super lily here, and when he was writing it, when he was autographing, he was actually making Mario's voice. So super lily, woohoo! Wow, he's a super.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
Sounds like such a nice guy. Well, I think that brings us swiftly to the end of the episode.
Oh my God. Really?
It's gone fast.
Yep. Would you like to let us know your socials, where the listeners can find you, where the viewers can hit you up?
Well, first of all, I really want to thank you for inviting me. I was very excited for this when you reached out. Harrison, Jordan, nice to meet you both. And
nice.
At least in, virtual, in person per se. But so thank you very much for that. And yeah, you can find me everywhere as Lily Hyrule. So it's just basically I'm YouTube. I'm usually streaming twice a week. So I am currently going through a Zeldathon. Well, a Zelda marathon. I don't really like the Zeldathon and like to mention Zeldathon because I know when we go through a Zeldathon, there's charity and stuff like that. I'm not really doing that. I'm just playing the games. So I'm barely starting with that. And I'm also uploading weekly videos on my YouTube channel. And again, you can also find content for Zelda Universe. You can find Zelda Universe at zeldauniverse.net. Feel free to DM me. I'm always trying to be helpful if you have any questions directly on specific things. I do have a lot of DMs from people asking me for certain tips and how to do certain things. Feel free to do that. I'm always trying to help. But yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity and for having me.
The hype you were giving in the DMs, you were like, "I'm ready to go." I was like, "Oh my God."
Yeah. But also, I mean, there's a lot of content that I really like to talk about. So I am focusing a little bit more on Zelda, but I also love Bloodborne, by the way, and Dark Souls.
Nice.
So it's kind of
nice.
another side and platformers.
We can have you back again for sure.
Yeah, I recently got the collector's edition for Metroid Dread. I am a Metroid fan as well. I really enjoy those games. Yeah, there are a lot of things that I would love to be back.
Yes,
absolutely.
Anytime.
But yeah, thank you so much again. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Jordan, where can they find you?
Go at Grief Burrito, and then you'll find me somewhere there. It's easier than anything else.
And you can find me at Haswild. You can find me at Grief Burrito. Also, make sure to subscribe. And if you like this episode, review it on whichever podcast app you are listening on. And we'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Farewell.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
Farewell.
Do you stop the recording, Harrison?
Yep.
Or do I?